Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I got for you guys today ASL Wi-Fi Season 2 Draft Analysis. Hutch, coach of the Miami Dolphins, as you can see so nicely highlighted on the screen. It's been a little bit since I've uploaded, obviously. It's been off season for ASL Wi-Fi. I didn't make playoffs, missed it by a game, so we had to sit idly by and watch who take home the championship. But we're back. We are ready. We are ready to make playoffs because Showdown I usually make playoffs. Maybe Tornadoes contributed to not making playoffs, but it was okay. It was okay. I haven't been great in Paldea decks. I had to learn. I had to get back in the labs. Had to cook up a better team because honestly, my team last season, it was not good. It was kind of cool, but it wasn't well planned. It was pretty poorly planned. Um, and some notable things walking into this draft. I'm 5th overall. We got DLC 2 Pokemon. I wanted to use some new stuff, which we'll get to in a little bit. But there's two things that I do very poorly in draft, and that is I don't draft especially in Paldea. I don't draft hazards well, and I don't draft speed well. So I figured I had no idea what I wanted. Shen Pao went first to fist. Brett got Zama. Lalo went Urshifu Rapid, and Spider took Iron Boulder. Iron Boulder was something I was looking at just because I want to try some new stuff. And I was like, damn, I kind of want Palafin. A couple other things I want to try. But ultimately, I was like, I've only tried this thing once. It's arguably the best mod in draft, and it's Great Tusk. I think Great Tusk is so ridiculously good. And part of the motivation, thank you, Tornadoes, was getting swept by this thing. Essentially swept by it. Did I actually get swept by it? I don't remember. That was so long ago. But if you hadn't seen the video, it was when I played Insomniac Cricket, coach of the Duke Blue Dooms. And I had a Scarf Tornadus to counteract Booster Great Tusk. And I missed the fucking Bleak Wind. So that was cool. Never drafting Tornadus again, by the way. But Great Tusk is the greatest roll compression in the format. Rapid Spin, Rocks, Knockoff. It gets every bit of coverage you could ever want. It's such a willing rapid spinner. Before I talk about that, I gotta hit on the coverage, because before this thing was like, okay, Corviknight, good answer, still a decent answer, but we got Supercell Slam, which if you don't know what that is, it's basically electric type jump kick. So it is like you can outplay it with stuff like Protect, but it is just an extra wrinkle to a mon that already has like god level coverage and god level versatility. But yeah, it's a very willing rapid spinner, and what I mean by that is it literally wants to click rapid spin when hazards aren't on the field, because it gets faster. It's a big wall breaker. It's really easy to set up with bulk up, and obviously booster energy is really good with it. So I think having a willing remover is just really, really good. I really like the rapid spin buff. Like Gen 9 has helped me truly appreciate the speed buff, because I'm pretty sure it was still a thing in Gen 8, but Gen 9 has really gotten me to appreciate it with how much defog was nerfed, like how much is like can use it. So I think getting Great Tusk was really important, because I mean last season my removal was Avalugg, Altaria, and Magic Bounce Espeon. So I was like, I'm not doing that again. I need Great Tusk. And I didn't know what I wanted. So Great Tusk works with everything. You can't find a single team that isn't improved by Great Tusk. So really, really excited to use Great Tusk. I used it really early in the gen, but I didn't really use it to its full extent. I used it more as like a supporting mon. But this thing is a focal point. This thing is insane. So going into the second round, like I said, I don't draft speed well, and I don't draft removal well. Well, I got removal. I went with speed. I was originally thinking of like Raging Bolt here, because if you don't know, I have to pick Venusaur at some point in this draft, because I lost Commissioner Bowl last season with Brett, and that was the punishment, is they got to select one mon for their team, so I have to pick Venusaur down the line. I end up picking it last because it falls. So I was like, well, maybe like I have Tusk here. Maybe we could work at some Sun. So that was an idea with like Raging Bolt. And then I was like, maybe I want to try Pecharunt. But I was like, no, let's just get some speed. let's get another versatile mon. I went with Greninja in this case. As we can see, Pult fell to 14, which is just stupid, by the way. I was gonna pick that thing if it made it back around to me. Um, God, it was so stupid. I was sitting there and I was like, how the hell is Pult in round two? Um, but it doesn't make it back. I mean, getting Pult and Tusk would be like so insanely unfair. So I'm like almost okay that it didn't happen. But I love Greninja. Greninja's awesome. Another versatile Mon just great. I think it's really good in this generation with Battle Bond because obviously before it was like, okay, if you allow Ash Greninja, it's like, okay, you're either Ash Greninja or you're Protean Greninja or you're Torrent Greninja. This thing gets to run Battle Bond and Protean at the same time, which gives it like different different wrinkles to it. That's a word I'm going to use a lot because I'm just trying to draft a lot of versatile mons. But it's like it can be a Protean breaker or it can be a Battle Bond sweeper, which is really nice. And it's good speed. Base 122 is really valuable. I value the spikes. Like I believe it gets toxic spikes as well, which is super nice. High speed pivoting, high speed power. This was just it just made sense. Like the theme of this team is just drafting mons that can do a lot and are not necessarily pigeonholed into doing one job. So I really like Greninja. I think this sprite is fucking hilarious. I don't know who the hell designed this, but I remember when I first played the game and like I was like wonder trading or some shit and it got traded to me and I was like, why the fuck is he standing like this? Bro's the goofiest motherfucker ever. But you know, I love it. Greninja's awesome. I haven't used Greninja in a hot minute. Um, but yeah, it's the type of speed to power that I was looking for, and I couldn't have asked to start out the draft any better. Um, so going into the third pick, I was like trying to think of like what I wanted to do because I didn't have a vision. Okay, like I said, first overall pick, didn't know what I wanted, so I grabbed Tusk. Second overall pick, I just grabbed Greninja because it was like a good mon. But I was like, I kind of want to try stuff that I haven't used. So if you guys remember, I had Ogerpon Cornerstone on my last team. And because of my team structure, I didn't actually get to use it as much as I wanted to. I didn't get Cornerstone for this team, but I did get Hearthflame. So Hearthflame is insanely good. Hearthflame is a demon. Ivy Cudgel with Moldbreaker is really hard to swap into. Um, I don't think it was drafted, but something like Heatran pops into mind. Can't flash fire that thing because of Moldbreaker. Also, this thing gets spikes, and it can spike through Magic Bounce because of Moldbreaker. So Moldbreaker is a little interesting in that regard. I don't love that you have to burn an item slot on an offensive fire type because I'd really like to have boots in that slot. But I just felt like Ogerpon was one of the best things available. I was talking with Brad, trying to work out the team and how it was going to look. And again, we're in the business of drafting good mons here down in South Beach. Um, Ogerpon Hearthflame, it's just a menace of a physical attacker. And the things that I was lining up down the future, like I really wanted to use Jolteon. I knew I was going to get Venusaur at some point, so I was like, okay, I really want like a big physical attacker just in case Great Tusk gets pushed into like a utility role for the week. I want something that's also a really good attacker, and it fills out the speed tiers really nicely. So now we have 87 to 110, a big gap that never gets filled, by the way, to 122. So really just great mon overall. I love the Ogre Pawns. Um, I'm a big advocate for speed U-turn knockoff. That's why I love Torn T outside of the fucking missing. Just that utility combo is so good, and just Grass Fire is such a good typing. And again, I really didn't like how little I used Ogerpon Cornerstone last season, so this will at least keep me on the Ogerpon forums. And I think the Ogerpon forums, if I look down here, yeah, they went like right back into each other. Like Cornerstone doesn't get picked, but Wellspring, Hearthflame, and Ogerpon all go. Which is really funny that they all went like super close to each other. But yeah, I just rounded out an awesome offensive core. Because now I'm thinking, okay, like at this point, I only need a couple more offensive options, and like this team is set, like offensively, like we're really good. So I wanted to use some more new stuff. couple things I was looking at. I didn't really know what steel type to do. I'm of the opinion that steel type is really hard to solve in Paldea. And I wanted to try something new. And I stumbled on our Chaladon. Our Chaladon is really, really interesting to me. I didn't think it would make it. I was really scared that Nico was going to take it, but he took Jirachi with a 43rd overall pick. But yeah, our Chaladon, I think it fits the mold of this team, where it's like, especially with like Tusk, where it's like it's a really, really bulky mon, but it can hit really hard. Our Chaladon is more on the defensive side of the spectrum in my eyes. It's probably going to be the primary rocker for this team. I hate running rocks on Great Tusk, so I like that our Chaladon could be a good rocker for this team. And it gets decent enough coverage. I mean, this is a Dialga typing. This is an awesome typing. And it could drop Dracos. Like, I don't like physical spam for dragons unless it's backs, just because the move options are not great. So I like dropping Dracos here. Body press is pretty good. Interestingly, I was doing calcs. This thing is not heavy at all. So heavy slam is kind of dog shit. It's not heavy at all. It's like 187 kilograms or something like that. It's a fucking bridge, dude. Yeah, it's a bridge. It's not a building, it's a bridge. Yeah, it's a fucking bridge. And it's like 187 kilograms, which Great Tusk is like 7 times the weight of our Chaladon. Which, if we're looking at these two, the bridge should be more than the elephant. Anyways, rant aside. I really like our Chaladon. It was really interesting. Like I said, I didn't know what steel I actually liked. I honestly didn't like most of them because I think Corviknight went. Where did Corviknight go? Yeah, Corviknight went in round 3. Corviknight was one that I was looking at, and I was like, ugh, after that, ugh. I don't know what I like. So our Chaladon was a great pick here. It gives me a good rocker. And a really bulky Mon that we're going to have some bulky offense with. So I was happy with our Chaladon, for sure. And then coming out of this pick, I was starting to develop quite the ground weakness, and seeing as how I'm going to get another grass type that's neutral to ground on the line, I was like, this has to be a ground type answer. And I also didn't like the fact that my water was just going to be Greninja. I think having a bulky water is so much, it plays so much to my style. And I actually landed on Gyarados. So I've never used Gyarados in draft, but I think it's kind of sick in this case. So it is our first Terra Captain. You get 20 Terra points, which correspond to the points here. Premium Mons cannot Terra except for Regieleki. So I have water on here just because I think Terra Water Wave Crash is just stupid not to do. Terra Flying is awesome because Water Flying is a really good combo, and it's the only way for Gyarados to really capitalize on it. And Dragon is on there so we can resist electric types, but also we can hit with Terra, Dragon, Scale Shot. So this thing could be like a nice Moxie Sweeper. It can also be really bulky with Intimidate. It just fits really well with our Chaladon. It resists the fighting. It's immune to the ground. It can kill the ground. And then our Chaladon is immune to rock. It's immune to, not immune to rock, but it resists rock, resists electric. So those two go really, really well hand in hand. I'm excited for Gyarados. I really am. Again, it fits the mold of this team where it's like there's some bulky offense options with like Tusk and with our Chaladon and with Gyarados. It was something that I was really, really intrigued when I saw it. Like I had like Blastoise on there at one point, but this is a legit ground type answer. That can be defensive, it can be offensive. Who knows? Maybe I'll get a Dragon Dance Moxie Sweep or a Scale Shot Sweep. Who knows? Gyarados has some options. But going into the next pick, as I said earlier, I wanted Jolteon, and it was so mercilessly sniped for me by the GigaFast team, whose average base speed is 111, which is stupid. But I actually found something that's arguably better. Yeah, forget what I just said. We'll oh, there's the Jolteon. That's why I brought it up. We'll get to that later. So I got Florges here, obviously. I am not a big fan of Florges. That's probably why I forgot about it. But if we consider the fact that it is 3 points cheaper than Sylveon, I think it's worth it in this case. I usually don't like Florges because it's kind of setup fodder, but it is interesting to note that it gets Alluring Voice, which means that if someone is setting up on me and they go before me, I can confuse them with Alluring Voice. And you'd be like, well, they could just set up a sub because Florges doesn't hit that hard. Well, Alluring Voice is a sound move, so it'll go through the sub. So, interestingly, we have that. The main reason I got it was, again, to support our Chaladon. That is what we're going for right now. Our Chaladon is a really big defensive staple. Again, I have a lot of my offense rounded out with the top 3 picks. We're keeping offense going with Gyarados and our Chaladon. I really wanted to support our Chaladon. And a big, bulky fairy, especially defensive, because our Chaladon, really good on the physical side, not so great on the special side. But we have Florges, who's a monster on the specially defensive side. And we can Wish Pass into our Chaladon and into Gyarados. And hell, even Great Tusk. Some bulky mons that don't have access to recovery. I like the idea of Wish Passing in this case. But I don't like the move Wish, to be honest, that much, because I think you have to run Protect with it a lot of the time, which I think you're just getting rid of half of your moveset for recovery, which I don't really like. But Florges also gets Synthesis, which is interesting. So if there's weeks where it's like, well, I need Florges to be a wall, but I don't need it to Wish Pass, it's not like Sylveon where I have to be Wish. To be clear, I like Sylveon more, but I can run Synthesis, which is nice. Can also be a Calm Mind Mon. It's solid, like special attack. I believe it's 112, so not bad. I've never been a big Florges guy in the past, but I think it just fits extremely well in this team. I think, up until this point, I was getting mauled by Dragon Spam just because my Steel type is neutral to Dragon. But big Florges right here. I think it's an essential piece for the team. So as much as I don't really like Florges, I think this is one of the best teams I could have fit for it. So yeah. As I said before, Jolteon got stay, blah 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 blah. I got Kilowattrel. Kilowattrel, same price, or no, it's 1 point cheaper than Jolteon. Yeah. I wanted Jolteon mainly because it got like Calm Mind and Alluring Voice and stuff like that, which makes it like super good. It can operate as not a Terra Captain if I want to bring something else as a Terra Captain. But Kilowattrel is arguably better, I would say, because it gives me another ground immunity, which is really nice for our Chaladon. Baby Zapdos, of course. I had to make it the Terra Captain. Terra Flying is just so menacing, so I really wanted to do that. Terra Ground's really good. Turns out Flying Ground is really good type combo, and then Terra Ice just because why not? Interestingly, Terra Ice makes it a really, really good counter to other Terra Ice electric types because we have Volt Absorb, so we would be immune to electric type moves, and Ice resists Ice. So there, boom, awesome. Yeah, Kilowattrel really good. Speed tier overlaps a little bit with Greninja, but that's okay. Gives you some more top end speed, which again I greatly appreciate. I think Kilowattrel is pretty good. I really wish it had Defog. I don't know why they just axed Defog on like literally everything, but I think Kilowattrel is all in all really, really solid here. I think pairing Great Tusk with a good electric type is always a good idea, especially one that can get rid of grass types at the same time. So I think it pairs really well with Great Tusk. It gives me another pivot because my team was lacking a little like pivoting. Like Floor just gonna be baton pass a lot of the time, I feel, just as being like this bulky pivot. But Kilowattrel can be somewhat bulky, and pawn off the Roosts, the U-turns, Volt Switches. It's kind of like the same, well, not the same, a similar bulk profile as like Talonflame, obviously without the Flame Body. But it's that same thing where it's like, it's so fast that it can really afford to like speed creep something that's like a lot slower than it. And then you could just invest a lot in bulk. But I was really happy with Kilowattrel here. And honestly, this was like one of the last things to where it's like, okay, this team is like good now. This is like something that I'm really happy with. And then this upcoming pick was the last one where it's like, okay, I need this thing to shore up my last issue with the team. And looking at this team, you'll notice it gets absolutely obliterated by Edgequake. other than Great Tusk, so I had to go with Houndstone. Um, had other ghost types in mind, but saving a point with Kilowattrel and saving 3 points with Florges, it became really apparent that I could afford Houndstone, which is awesome because I think that defensive Houndstone is really, really good. This thing is so bulky for absolutely no reason. It gets fluffy as well. It already has like good defensive bulk, and like pure ghost is a really good defensive typing because you're only weak to dark and ghost yourself. So it's a really good defensive typing, but you also get fluffy. It gets a lot of options like body press. It gets will-o-wisp, pain split. I think it just recently got pain split in this DLC. Obviously got poltergeist from DLC 1, so it actually has good ghost stab. But yeah, like this thing doesn't have to be in sand to do anything. Interesting to note that my team can work really well in all weathers, like Ogre Pawn, Venusaur down the line, Tusk, they all work in the sun. Houndstone works in the sand. Um, Archaludon to some extent too, because it makes, doesn't it make steel type? No, it's only rock types. Never mind. But then also water. In the rain, we have Gyarados and Greninja and Kilowattrel and stuff like that, and Archaludon. But yeah, Houndstone was just, it's not probably going to come a lot of the time, but when I looked at this team and I sat back and I was like, well, we're really weak to Edgequake, and I would really like to just have a Mon that I could just plug in to the team builder every week and just be like, look, there's some Edgequake concerns. I know I have Tusk, so it's like that's one of the better Edgequake bonds. Um, Close combat as well, but I was just like, look, it just fills a niche. Um, it gives me a lot of like comfort defensively, and a spin blocker because I have really good hazards. I have obviously Greninja and Ogerpon have good spike stacking ability. I'm gonna get another one down the line. So I was like, you know what? This is great. This is a good glue piece, Mon. And again, it makes team building a lot easier, which I really appreciate. Um, so then after this, like I said, I'm gonna get another spike stacker. And I was looking at the team and I was like, okay, Tusk is awesome at rapid spinning, but if there's a week where Tusk can't afford rapid spin, I don't want it to be my only rapid spinner, despite the fact that it's probably going to run rapid spin every single week. So I went and got Karkle. Karkle for 2 points. Awesome, awesome value. And I believe at this point, after getting Karkle, this was the point in the draft where it's like everything I wanted was pretty much guaranteed. Like no one could really afford Venusaur, and the teams that could didn't need Venusaur. So I was like, okay, we're good. Go ahead and take Karkle right now. Karkle for 2 points, really good value. I wish I could have Terra'd it 1 point off because I still have one Terra point, but I'm not going to get a 1 pointer, as you'll see. So it's like, oh well. But yeah, really good hazard control, rapid spin, spike, stealth rock, and overall pretty bulky. It's a good fairy type answer. Overall for 2 points, I think Karkle's really good. I advocate getting Karkle in lower tiers whenever I can, just because again, it provides you decent enough bulk to validate bringing it some of the time. Um, yeah, it's also a fire type that resists fire, because before this, my fire type resists were Gyarados and Greninja, which is concerning because who knows, Gyarados might want to be offensive. And Archaludon, my dragon type, is neutral to steel. So it was something where it's like it fills a couple niches, like we resist fire, it's another fly resist, which is awesome. It's an ice resist, which is really big because up until this point, my only ice resist is Greninja. So a really important ice resist. And just helps Tusk not feel like it's the only one removing hazards. So really happy to get Karkle here. Then for our 10th round pick, you'll notice I'm missing a couple typings here. And we keep missing typings towards the end, but we're missing a crucial one, and that is normal type. So Venusaur is 8 points, predetermined. So I went into 2 points and found this gem, Oranguru. I promise this man will see the field, okay? Oranguru will see the field. Honestly, not even that terrible of a mon. It has like base 110 special defense, like 95 HP. Solid 2-pointer. It's a bulky normal. If you guys have ever used Ridgeraft or Meloetta, it's a really good defensive typing because you're only weak to Dark and Ghost, which is, sorry, not Ghost, Dark and Bug, which are not super common unless we're talking about knockoff U-turn. But I have a lot of things that resist that anyways, like, any fairy type. So it's a really good typing. And honestly, Oranguru has pretty good coverage. Its biggest issue is it's really slow, but can run some, like, I don't know, trick room shenanigans. But I really like Oranguru for 2 points in terms of like bulky normals. I think it's really good. Um, yeah, I think overall Oranguru might see a couple games just because of a really good typing, some decent overall stats, and yeah, I really wanted Oranguru from the jump. I saw it as like a good value pick, um, especially when I don't like prioritizing psychic types. I don't think psychic's a very good typing, especially um, in this generation. It's just not that good, and getting bulky normals is always good. So getting a nice one in 2 points is really good. So as I said, last pick, it's Venusaur. Thank you, Brett. Appreciate it. So we got Venusaur with 8 points. Kind of sucks I wasn't able to make it a Terra Captain, but yes, I could have gone Venusaur and then either made Karkle or Anguru one over Kilowattrel, but I feel like Kilowattrel was better. And we didn't really build out the sun for this team, but there's some options. There's some options. Great Tusk, Ogerpon, Venusaur, like I said. But I think Venusaur is overall pretty good in this team. And the biggest thing it fills right now is a grounded poison type, okay? I already have a grass type. I really like my grass types to be like really bulky. And Venusaur is bulky, it just doesn't resist ground, which kind of sucks. Um, but I think Venusaur is overall pretty good. I think it has some uses outside of just being a Sunmon. It's overall a pretty good typing, and again, it's a poison type that can hit fairly hard when it needs to. It got some access to, I believe, Poison Jab, which is interesting. So you're not like Calm Mind fodder if you're gonna try and Sludge Bomb. So yeah, grounded poison type was kind of how I set this up, which is ultimately why I kind of pivoted away from Pecharunt, because it was like I didn't want to stack speed tiers because Tusk is 87 and then Pecharunt is 88. So I was like, and I'm getting Venusaur as a grounded poison, so whatever. But yeah, I'm pretty as happy as I could have been for Venusaur in this case. I had the foresight that I was going to grab it, so I would have really preferred Tentacruel in this spot because it would have fixed my gaping hole from 87 to 110 speed, um, and would have given me more removal and would have given me a better ice resist. But I digress. I still think Venusaur is really good. Hopefully we can get some use out of it. Again, maybe I bring like Sunny Day, Florges, or something. I don't know. But yeah, that's the team. Pretty happy with it overall. Again, fifth pick, kind of in the middle. But we started out strong with Great Tusk, Greninja, Ogerpon Hearthflame, Archaludon, Terra Gyarados, Florges, Terra Kilowattrel, Houndstone, Karkle, Oranguru, and Venusaur. So let me know what you guys think about the team. I think it's a hell of a lot better than my team last season. I actually have a dedicated wall core, which I didn't have last season. Like I had like Valiant, Torn, Ursaluna, Gengar, Ogerpon were my like first 5 picks. Well, not Ursaluna. Ursaluna was my last pick, but that was like my top 5 mons. And I just had absolutely no defense. But a good defensive core with Archaludon, Gyarados, Florges, Houndstone, with hazard support from Great Tusk, and they all hit hard. I don't draft passive mons. What's the most passive thing here? Like Karkle, I guess. Like everything hits decently hard. So I'm happy about the team. Happy to bring you guys some more games. We have a 9-week season this season instead of 7. So gonna get more games regardless. But hopefully we can start out on the right foot. I believe my time slot for this week is Friday at noon. Uh, uh, Friday at noon of next week, whenever this goes up. This will go up on either Thursday night or Friday night. It'll be Friday the following, so like the 9th. But yeah, we're doing set scheduling, so games will either go up Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But yeah, with that being said, Thank you guys all for watching, and I will see you guys in our week 1 match against God Bear and the Chicago Phalanx. Bye.